Moving on to our next technical session on delivering superior learning experiences, a need today by Mr. Sunil Chiplunkar, Vice President, Business Development, Group Pharmaceuticals, Bangalore. First, I would like to introduce Mr. Chiplunkar sir. He has completed his graduation from JSCCP, Mysore, post-graduation from GCP, Bangalore, MBA in Marketing from Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi, and currently pursuing his PhD from JSSAHER, Mysore. He has acquired expertise in different domains like sales, marketing, training, events, product management, and general management. He has comprehensive industrial experience of almost 29 years, where he has held different designations like product executive, senior product executive, product manager, senior product and training manager, marketing manager, vice president of business development and training, vice president in marketing and training, vice president in sales and marketing, vice president in training and marketing, and currently vice president in business development, Group Pharmaceuticals, Bangalore. He has traveled to many countries like Myanmar, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Germany, Switzerland, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Dubai, Hong Kong, Sri Lanka, and Abu Dhabi for foreign business. He has delivered around 27 motivational speeches to different colleges and universities across India. He is an author of a short ebook entitled A Practitioner Manager's Viewpoint, Success of the MBA Program. He has been awarded IPA NPW Award in November 2020 for doing notable contributions in the pandemic. May I now request Mr. Sunil Chiplunkar sir to address our esteemed audience.
Thank you very much. That was very, I can say, encouraging and elaborate introduction. Special greetings to Dr. P.D. Chaudhary Saab, Convener, STTP, Dr. R.B. Kakade Saab, Advisor, AICTE, Dr. Vittal Chopde ji, and of course, our zealous and very articulate Dr. Mohammad Salahuddin ji. Thank you for that energetic presentation. So it's a great honor for me to address an august audience here. All of you are educators and lifelong learners. So it is indeed a great pleasure for me to represent some of my thoughts, and I'm hoping that all these things will be useful to you in your day-to-day issues. So with due respect, I would like to begin today's proceedings. So can I start? And I will just put this on F5. Okay. Are the slides visible? I just want to know.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And is the slide moving?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Then I am on, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So the theme that I have chosen to address an august audience like all of you, who are obviously great in your own spheres of activity and domain experts, is to share my learnings and experiences on how to deliver superior learning experiences. And as has already been reiterated, I have a lot of training experience, mainly in the corporate world, and to an extent even in the academia, although I have never been an employee in the academia. So the flow of my talk for the next probably 50 minutes, 1 hour, would be, first, I will give a nice icebreaker, and then there will be certain interesting background details that I would like to emphasize on. I would also like to delineate the various types of learner-centric sessions that we can take. So I'll be sharing my learnings, and probably you can incorporate it in your own sphere of activity. And the conclusion is also there, rather the take-home message. So essentially, it's going to be a bird's eye view. Okay, I'm going to take you on a helicopter or a drone view on the different aspects on the learning environment. You are also participants in that, and you are constantly in the learning and teaching sphere. I'm also there. So let us begin our journey in this drone together. So the icebreaker is here. So the icebreaker is an interesting story that I want to share with you. It is a very interesting story and it brings out the power of a teacher. Now, normally when we say teacher, we also refer to the various gurus also as teachers, because teachers are those who are going to give you direction, knowledge, wisdom, and also impart certain skills and create the learning sessions for you in life. There happened to be a drought hit area. Lot of villages, they didn't have any water, and there was lot of clamor for water. There was lot of pain. There are people who are saying that the government is not doing anything, and so on and so forth. So one guru decided that he will call everybody and he will do a great puja. And in this puja, the effect of it, of this havan, would be that there will be excellent rainfall in that entire area. So obviously the villagers who are looking for hope decided that they will come to that puja and they will perform the havan, the puja, etc. And only one person came with an umbrella. He was so confident that the puja and that guru will be on the deliverable. Well, that is what is the power of a guru or a teacher. The power of a guru or a teacher can be amazing. It can create significant impact on the impressionable minds of your students. And when you create the learning sessions, there will be dramatic change in their behavior, and that will align themselves to obtain a much better future for themselves. And they will also look for gaining higher and higher levels of living with reaching of several milestones in their life. So that is what a teacher can build. He can build the faith in a learner, and that will take him across 7 seas, and he can achieve significant milestones in his life. So that is what I expect learning sessions like yours in your own domain of activity will be doing to all the learners or teachers. So faith basically refers to the complete trust. That is, you find that that gentleman or that guru or that teacher is reliable, and he is generating confidence in you because you are having confidence in that person or that entity. So when Modern College of Pharmacy is generating that faith in all the learners, then that environment, that entity, that organization, that academic institution becomes a lodestar institution and providing impetus to learning across all age groups or whichever the targeted age group is there. So that faith is what every learning system should instill in the learner. It should create a faith that what he is going to get during the learning session is going to transform, and he is going to attain the results that he is aiming for. So, which means you are going to ensure that each student will come prepared with the umbrella, expecting fully well that the rains will come. That faith can be generated by a teacher and can be provided by your superior learning sessions that you are creating for the learners. So faith is that which makes mountains move. So that is the faith in which learners are going to absorb the messages that you are going to impart. And with that, they are going to propel towards their higher achievements in life. So let us see how we are delivering superior learning experiences and making these transformations in the learners. Whenever we conduct a learner association as well as create a learner session, we believe that we have to produce a behavior change in the targeted individual. It will be in terms of the specific knowledge that he has to acquire, or the specific skill, or a specific attitude or response behavior to a situation. Let me take the context of marketing. Let us say I'm having a product like, assume, amlodipine, which is a calcium channel blocker, as you are aware. So our idea is that the individual who is going to market this product or brand of amlodipine should have the idea about the product monograph, the product talking points, and he should contextually choose which talking point is relevant in that situation and convert the doctor. So we are looking for empowering the learner with specific knowledge, and the skill to present attractively the detailing point, and he should have a positive attitude. So the reactionary behavior, whenever there are stimuli in the environment, the reaction to that situation should be such that he would be able to do the objection handling. This is what we are looking for when we are building a competency in a particular learner. So we call this as KSAP. What is it? Knowledge, skills, attitude, and proficiency. When this KSEP level with respect to various dimensions of knowledge that we are targeting is there in the learner, obviously the organization will start delivering improved results. However, in our academia, what are we going to do? Are we going to focus only on exam performance, or are we going to focus on KSEP? That is what our teachers and our academic environment should address. Goes out of your environment of Modern College of Pharmacy, and he is going to either penetrate into another organization, which can be an academia or a for-profit business organization. What kind of value is he going to deliver in the context of his employment? That is what is more important than his examination score. Examination score is a key which opens the door for him. But what value he is able to deliver after entering into the domain of his employment depends on what learnings you have created in that student or that learner. And that is more important. What my medical representative is going to do when he enters into the clinic, what sort of deliverables he is going to give to the doctor, and what outcome he is going to create during the in-clinic activity is what we are focusing. So everybody is looking for this value delivery process, and that is the chain of value delivery that we need to essentially focus on, because from a futuristic angle, it is that value delivery concept which is going to work. It is not just the examination performance alone. So we need to focus not only on creating good exam performance of our students in our academic and learning environments, but also create the learnings which will help him perform much better and do value addition in the employment domain or self-employment domain, entrepreneurial domain, whatever you are targeting for. So the current requirement for various academia are, you want students. Basically, that is what you are looking for. But however, the vision is changing. The requirement from academic institutions is changing. Today, along with the students and the focus on publications, new focus areas have developed. How many patents is that institution creating? That has become one focus area. Are you have an incubation? Are there companies getting incubated in that organization, and is it creating self-employment, or are there intrapreneurs or entrepreneurs being created? That is also an important aspect of today's learning environment. And secondly, what is the academia and industry linkage? Because finally, we cannot operate in silos. There has to be constant interaction, and joint value delivery systems have to improve. So that is the focus area in which the current academia should also take up and create the learning experiences. Let us see some interesting backdrop details, and I'm going to titrate to the demand and supply situation in the education field, particularly the higher education field. If you notice the recent statements of AICTE, 50% of the seats have been vacant and no new engineering colleges for 2 years. From 2015 to 2018, 518 engineering colleges have shut down. And it has been recommended that no engineering colleges will be accepted till 2020. Similar situation we are aware is there in the pharmacy colleges also, and currently a moratorium is there. The new pharmacy colleges will not open up. So what we are trying to understand here is that, unlike how it was during probably our college days or our school days, there is a shift in the market orientation. Earlier it used to be a seller's market, where an individual would have difficulty in obtaining a seat in a particular institution. But today it is changing. It is a buyer's market. So academic institutions are competing with each other. Courses are competing with other courses to get learners to their courses. And value addition is also being tried by each and every course, because today courses are being marketed just like any other marketable item in the market. So what we need to understand is that there is a temporal shift. So the old mindset where we open a college and then students are just going to throng is going to be different, because the expectations are different from the customers or the consumers. Here today, your students are your important consumers of the learnings that you are creating. And that student has got certain expectations. There are many colleges in the engineering field which do not get any student simply because there are no campus placements. So campus placement is the main criterion on which the choice of the college is being made in the engineering field. And even in the pharmacy institutions, this is going to happen. So with all these tectonic shifts happening in the education sphere, you can well imagine it is going to be a very important value-driven processes that will create better and better learning experiences. The demand and supply situation is that 900 new pharmaceutical colleges were set up in just 1 year, and no new pharma colleges, Mr. Sahasrabudhe sir has said, will be open till 2022. India's higher education field has rapidly changed over the past 20 years. Now I am approximately 30 years in my work life, and many of my peers are also 30 years in the work life. Now the situation in the education field during our college days, when it was basically a seller's market, is totally changed. Today it is a buyer's market. Today we have to hunt for the students to come to our institution. There are a lot of competing factors which are represented before the student comes into the institution. And one very important remark made by the ICEF is that India's higher education has rapidly expanded over 20 years, but too few graduates are coming out with employable skills. So what we are looking is a situation where we are having graduates and postgraduates, but are they having the ready employability? That is a question that all of us instructors, educators, trainers should ask. India's education system is one of the largest in the world with 52,000 institutions, as per the Brookings India report. And there are 35.7 million students who are enrolled in our country's universities, which is not a small number. So you can imagine there is a big market, it is competitive, and there are challenges in employability. Learner experiences are also varied and their expectations are increasing. And are we in a position to provide these deliverables, whether it is in the corporate environment or whether it is in the academic institution? The number of pharmacy colleges and engineering colleges, etc., was just 44 in 1947. But today, you know what is the number. And at the same time, please understand that the highest demand is coming from the pharmaceutical sector for employment. Yes, ITES, BPO, KPO industry is there, but at the same time, pharmaceutical sector is a very big absorber. And pharmaceutical sector doesn't mean only pharmacists. There are a lot of non-pharmacists who are doing excellent in our field, and they are competing with the pharmacists and are providing value in the corporate environments. So the challenge for the pharmacists is twofold. One is they have to compete and enhance their own value. At the same time, they have to compete with other non-pharmacists and also deliver the value. So these are all very important challenges, and this is all quoted from the India Skills Report 2020. According to Ajay Bhatt, President Global Human Resources of Intas Pharmaceuticals, the healthcare industry globally is undergoing a massive transformation of technology, access, governance, therapy, and commercial considerations. This has been highlighted beautifully by the past speaker, Dr. Salahuddin ji, where he demonstrated how technology is changing the landscape of healthcare. Talent will continue to dominate the transformation agenda in terms of current and future skills. So core skills are required. At the same time, learners should be able to acquire new skills. For example, when we were there in the college, there was no internet, there were no computers, laptops, nothing. but nobody taught us how to use the internet, how to use the laptop, or how to use the different types of technologies to make improved deliverables in our marketing field or in the corporate sector. So what it means to say is that the learning skill is most important. And it is important for all the academic institutions to build in this lifelong learning skill among the learners or the students who are there. The India Skills Report 2020 also quotes Archana Bhaskar from Dr. Reddy Labs. She is a well-noted figure. She says, even at the current rate of growth, India's pharma sector is estimated to reach 80 to 90 billion US dollars by 2030, and it will create at least 10 lakh to 20 lakh additional jobs. So you can imagine how many jobs are going to be created in the pharmaceutical sector. Already, you are aware, the vaccine field has created tremendous image across the world for the pharmaceutical sector. I have traveled across many geographies and I am bewildered at the way India is called the pharmacy of the world, and the amount of respect we enjoy, the amount of acknowledgement we get whenever we are participating in trade fairs or we are talking to our compatriots in different countries. So you can well imagine that there are going to be jobs, but at the same time, competition for these jobs is not only from the pharmacists, but non-pharmacists are also there. And one of the biggest employment creator in the pharmaceutical sector is the marketing domain. When we say marketing, immediately people will start thinking the medical representative, and there is nothing more to that. There is no growth for the medical representative. That is also another unfortunate tunnel vision thought that people are having. Well, medical representative experience is very important, and that is the foundation on which the career is built for that individual. There is also the excipient field, which absorbs various types of representatives. Please understand, any pharmaceutical company, let us assume you take group pharmaceuticals itself. If I have got 250 jobs available in the factory, there are 700 jobs available in the marketing domain. It is the same for each and every pharmaceutical company. So marketing has got excellent scope. And here, this is what Archana Bhaskar reiterates, that the key differentiator will be the sales function, where the ratio of medical reps to doctors is expected to rise significantly given increasing competition in the organized sector. So what we are trying to see here is that marketing jobs are going to be exponentially increasing, both for domestic market as well as international market. Now, are you preparing the learners to achieve excellence in the marketing field is a question that we'll have to ask. Salesforce excellence will be the key to winning. Everywhere the Salesforce guys are the toast of the corporate sector. The reason is they transform the goods into revenue, and they are the ones who are bringing in revenue and creating the goodwill in the market. Sales leaders will have to transform the sales organizations, mindsets, habits, and culture. This is what Archana Bhaskar reiterates. And are we in that line when we are educating the learners in our academic institutions, or are we focusing only on exam performance? This is a question that we need to ask, because employability is going to be the differentiator between academic institutions. As patients expect more wellness solutions beyond medicine, such as services, devices, and apps, the industry will have to adapt to deal with multiple channels and put patient at the front and center of all work. This is what India Skills Report 2020 states. So are we having students and learners in our academic institutions who can think beyond medicines? Can they talk about the services to be provided along with the medicines? Are they aware about the different types of devices and apps? Can they provide in a community pharmacy educated learning to various people on the apps which are available? Can they help in app creation and development? The challenges are tremendous and the scope is also very high. So what it indicates is that business models are changing, and to these adaptations are required from the academic institutions, because they are the ones who are creating the fodder for these business plans. All types of students are being created by the academic institutions and fed into the corporate channels. Ayushman Bharat has been a very good start. but it is critical to offset the saturation in export markets. That is what India Skills Report states. There is going to be saturation in the pharma export market because we are seeing also the rise of regulatory constraints. Earlier, exporting to Myanmar was not a rocket science. Today, they have also got high regulatory hurdles. It is both a challenge as well as an opportunity because we need such students getting absorbed into organizations who will provide the solution to the problem of the regulatory challenge. And there will be a renewed focus on the domestic market. So are we building those skills among our learners as per the India Skills Report? That is what it is asking. The talent pool with advanced skills in India is limited. In the pharmacy institutes, as per the projections, we have 2,000 PhD students enrolled, whereas US has got 15,000 PhD students enrolled. So what are we doing about it? Are we going to build more talent, more PhD students, more interaction between the industry and academia so that the learner experiences are going to be in line of what is required for the nation and how employability can be increased and all the students who are coming out of academic institutions can fit into various employment roles. And remember, you are competing with non-pharmacists also. There is a level playing field when it comes to recruitment. It is clearly shown that there is a gap between the college curriculum and the industry's requirements. So a portion of it is being addressed with the Life Sciences Sector Skill Development Council, which has introduced the concept of apprenticeship, and many companies, including Group Pharma, Lupin, etc., have gone into this apprenticeship mold. So this is one thing that can be exploited. Dr. Reddy Labs is also doing good work in that. And India Skills Report emphasizes that we should proceed on these lines. Emcure Pharmaceuticals people state that despite the challenges faced by the pharmaceutical industry, the volume and value growth continues, and India will remain a prominent contributor to the global life sciences industry. So what your students are going to get into is a global platform. It is an exciting global platform into which they can get into. So are you preparing your student to understand whether there are possibilities of a global career? Is your student getting exposure to, say, German language optional in your campus or Mandarin Chinese in your campus? We are observing that engineering colleges are doing that. Remember one thing, engineers are like water. They will try to fit everywhere. Today, pharmaceutical engineering concept is taking up, and people are also looking at chemical engineering adaptations to pharmaceutical sciences. So you will find these people entering into the field. This is a level playing field. Whoever is able to add value will come in. So are you building the competencies? We are all aware, character, competence, commitment are the 3 C's on which recruitments are done. So please develop these qualities in your learners. It requires great thinking, lot of strategy and execution at the academic level. Indian pharmaceutical organizations are across all generic segments. Today we are in the complex niche formulations. Can your student make a beautiful time release capsule for, let us say, a hematinic, deliver the iron and the zinc in time release at different levels, different times the zinc and iron should be released? Can it be done by your student? Does he have the formula? This is how we should look at our students on what sort of deliverables they will bring to the field. There is also today a focus on API and intermediates. Forget about knowing what are the different types of intermediates, which are all the export substitution intermediates that can be created. Are our academia looking at that field? Do we know which are the intermediates which are coming from China? Can we create a technology for replacing it through domestic production? Can we collaborate with the academia to create that? Bioactive glass is one of the specialty ingredients which is imported and is used in different toothpastes, including by Group Pharmaceuticals. But is there somebody who can make bioactive glass of international grade in India itself? Now, these are all the questions that you will have to ask and the industry academia has to ask. The pharmaceutical industry, please understand, is a multidisciplinary field. It is not open only for pharmacists, but at the same time, pharmacists are having an edge, and we should try to keep building on the competencies of the pharmacist so that he can bring something of distinct and superior value, and he can get his rightful position in the pharmaceutical sector. Otherwise, where are we going to pay respect for that 4-year course and all our 2-year courses after the 4-year? The equipments for manufacturing quality are getting more sophisticated. This is what India Skills Report 2020 says. So is our teaching looking at how to make the student understand the different manufacturing aspects? Is he able to understand what are all the parts of a sophisticated machine? And because, please understand, what India Skills Report is saying, that the equipments for manufacturing quality are getting more sophisticated and complex, and this requires technical skills to operate and maintain. So what the industry is doing, it is importing the talent. We are having external partners in abroad who are coming by flight to fix the Tetra Pak machinery. He comes from Malaysia. Why are pharmacists and other types of people not geared up to do that? Now that's causing a lot of delays and significant loss in productivity. So India Skills Report suggests that maintenance engineers should also be focused on, and we should develop training. So how about having certificate courses for pharmacists, so that those who are in the maintenance field will have some certificate courses and then they will implement it in their field. It is a question of academia industry linkages and understanding mutual requirements and creating courses very fast and developing and implementing them. In the 2019, 1 year back, India Skills Report suggested that the employability of the engineers is the best, but for the MBA and BPharm courses is rather sad, rather sad. So what does it indicate? Employability concept has to be improved among all the BPharm graduates who are the main fodder for the pharmaceutical industry. In 2019 India Skills Report, the BPharm placement was only 36.29%. So there is a drastic SSDC suggests, according with PCI, that the employability has to increase, so do the apprenticeships. Today, a lot of digitalization is trending, and Skills India report, India Skills Report 2020 also suggests that in this $5 trillion economy which is going to come, the digital tailwinds are creating a change in the contours of the industry. Now, are our pharma guys digital experts? That is what Industry 4.0 suggests. The cyber physical systems, Internet of Things, for the industry, and our learners should rise up to the occasion. Already in the engineering field, they are taking up all those issues so that they will be able to create engineers who can skillfully adapt to the challenges in their industry. We pharmacists should also do it. These industries have reported that there is considerable change in the existing job role as well as creation of the new jobs. So as has been mentioned, data analytics, robotics, all these are coming into the pharmaceutical sector also. So Dr. Reddy Labs is already using big data analytics for R&D, manufacturing, quality, sales, and marketing. Now, are we training our pharmacy guys to even understand what is the concept of big data? That is what Dr. Salahuddin ji also referred to, and I am with him on that. So we should emphasize the improvement in employability for whatever course we are offering in our institution and creating the learning atmosphere. I would like to give an interesting, example of this Toyosato Elementary School. Now, this school is very well known in Japan, not because it is a, highly skilled school or something. It is like a routine school, but it has a very twist in its interesting history. It is almost a century-old school. And on the railing, they have put a hare as well as a turtle. And the students always see this hare and the turtle. And as they walk over the stair, they will see that the hare runs faster than the turtle. And the person who made this happen there was Furukawa Tetsujiro, who said that he was always castigated for being a slow learner in his school, but he became a billionaire. And why? because he understood that being at it is more important, perseverance is more important, because the turtle made its way at its own slow pace, but in between the rabbit sleeps, and finally who was on top? It was the turtle which reached faster than the rabbit. So every time the student sees this railing, now they get inspired. Are, don't get bogged down by the competition. So this is a very important learner-centric and motivating story. Whether you're a turtle or a hare, you have got your own dimension, you have got your own pathway, and you can succeed in your life. What a beautiful philosophical story that is. So if you have got a chance to go to Japan, go do visit that school. So delivering any superior learning experience has to be in the backdrop of such facts and the picture of reality that we are just focused on. Yes, in corporates, what are we trying to do? We are having lot of business roles, because ultimately in corporates it is rupee and a paisa. Just today morning also the discussion was how to increase the top line, how to decrease the cost. And what about the core skills among the various people who are coming into the company? Are they having the core skills? And most importantly, people in the management are asking, are these new guys who are coming, do they have a learning attitude? And they also ask, what is the communication and the soft skills that they are having? Are they able to manage to be with other people? See, please understand, in corporates and in the most of the employment focused organizations, English comprehension is one of the most important job skill. This has to be continuously reiterated during the 4-year BPharm course, or 6 years, 4+2 up to MPharm or even the PharmD. Yes, local language is also important, but at the same time, the ability to comprehend all documents in English, ability to understand the abbreviations like kappa and various sorts of other things that are thrown around, the abbreviations, the concepts. So it is important the individual has a good grasp of English. Simple. You make your children, your students read the English newspaper daily. In 4 years, automatically his English comprehension will become improved. And it is very important if he wants to be upwardly mobile in this internationalized world. Are we teaching the individual deductive reasoning? We constantly use this in our pharmaceutical sector on a day-to-day basis. So what is deductive reasoning? We gather the data, and then we analyze the data, and then we infer what sort of strategic direction should we take. That is called data-driven decisions, deductive reasoning. Like for example, let us say there is a spurt of sales of water paste in the northeastern area. So then we start gathering data, including tertiary data, how the movement of the goods is happening from the stockist to the retailer. So from that, we understand which are all the people who are prescribing. Then we realize that probably water paste is being written because there has been a jump in the dengue cases. And dengue also causes dengue hemorrhagic fever, and this drug is effective. So then you start focusing on promoting in that vein. You create a new product positioning for water paste. Example I'm giving you of deductive reasoning. This is being done in the production, in the quality, and in every sphere of activity. Inductive reasoning, which is the opposite of deductive reasoning, is also important in skill in our industry. Taking a simple single example and analyzing whether it can be extrapolated to the entire population. For example, you are meeting a veterinary doctor who says that thrombocytopenic purpura and thrombocytopenia related bleeding is more in the animals. And almost every animal which comes to the veterinary clinic has got this bleeding issue. Either it will be internal bleeding or external bleeding, or it will be cuts and bruises. And in any infection which is there in the animal, it will be mainly due to leading to thrombocytopenia, and only your water paste is effective, then that gentleman should be sharp enough to pick up and create a new strategy covering the entire veterinary segment and ensuring that there is an increase in the sales. This is an example of inductive reasoning. So we are creating a generalization from specific observations. Are we building up the personality traits? The most important is agreeableness. Is the etiquette there in the individual? Let us say he is very sharp in his core skill, but he is today core skill alone is not sufficient for a person's career to blossom. He should have the ability to move with people. If he is very shy, inhibited, or he is overtly extroverted, or he speaks too much in the meetings, he does not understand the unwritten decorum which is required to be followed in a particular corporate, or if he is a very nervous type because he's never seen the urban atmosphere and the very stultified corporate atmospheres, then how is that boy going to manage? Yes, if his adaptability is good, fine. But what if that learner in the college state itself had developed the concept of agreeableness and extraversion? Has he done some group games during his college days itself so that he has the ability to move with people? There are people who have got inhibitions in intergender communication. So many such challenges are there routinely felt in corporates, which will finish the careers. But engineering people are focusing on these competencies. So wake up, pharmacists. Dr. Albert Mehrabian's Elements of Personal Communication states that verbalization, the message transfer which is happening through words, is only 7%. 38% is voice modulation. It is the vocal quality. Are we developing the quality of communication? Doctor, a dentist, and pharmacist come for the same product manager role. Who will get the best bang for the buck? Whose ability will be there to represent the points of view better? Because a product manager and many such roles are open to each and every individual. Today we are getting medical doctors, we are getting dentists, everybody applying for these sort of roles. So please understand that we have to develop all these issues. Yes, in corporates, we follow what is called as adult-centric learning processes. So which means we are not focusing only on the teaching aspect. Now you have that liberty and that freedom in your organizations. In academic institutions, the expert will come and he will teach something and he expects the student to grasp it and his job is done. But I am not accountable for that. As a trainer, I have to create a learning module. I have to change the behavior of the trainees in such a way that the goal is achieved. Like for example, if detailing a brand like Cheyenne is the goal which I am having, the ability to represent 4 talking points attractively to that doctor is what behavioral change I'm expecting during the training program. I, as a trainer, am accountable for that. I have to deliver that. If the student or the learner is not delivering that, then that means the trainer has failed. Now that is not a liberty which you are enjoying. Now that is an accountability which I am enjoying. So that is the difference between teaching and learning. So is it time for you to shift your paradigm of thought? Should you focus more on andragogy, making it learner-centric, and focusing more on employability and specific knowledge, skills, and attitude development? Should you go from teaching to learning transformation in your wards? This is a very important aspect that you should focus on. Teaching focus means you are going to just pass on the knowledge to the learners. But in the learner-centric, I am going to give an assignment to the medical rep or the trainee, whoever is there, and he has to develop the talking points, internalize it, and represent it very successfully to the doctor. All this has to be done, and I am accountable for it. So I am accountable for creating the learning session and the learning module. Teaching means just giving lessons about a particular subject. But learning is ensuring that the knowledge that has to be imparted is internalized by that recipient. In teaching and learning, we can look at it in this way. It is pedagogy and andragogy. Pedagogy means leading the children. Andragogy means making the adult learn. For us, in all the spheres of training sessions, we get adults, we don't get children. They may have a child ego state, but I have to change it from child ego state to a mature adult ego state and ensure that he will internalize, he will absorb all the learnings that I am imparting. So it is more than being a teacher-centered. It is a learner-centered educational system that we are having in our own corporate systems. Any company you go to, that is the way it works. So we have to move from dependency to self-directedness of the learner. We have to instill that spark in that learner that he has to internalize that knowledge. We have to explain to him and titrate that this knowledge will make a difference to him in real life situations. So this way, the learning will make him assume a new role. Today, what are you doing to your students? you are also trying to prepare him for a new role after 4 years of B Farm. You want him to take up a new role, either as a researcher or you want him to be an employee in an organization in marketing, quality, sales, or it could be the production. So are you preparing for the new role, or are you just imparting some amount of knowledge? A question that you will have to ask. In andragogy, we create the need for the learner to learn. We emphasize that this is going to be a very important aspect. And we give examples how learnings have created new behaviors in your predecessors and they have gone street side in their life. So this way the learner will start becoming serious about his own concept. So basically we ensure that the thinking of the individual will also improve. And it is also based on autonomy of an individual. Please understand, learning styles are different. Some people will learn by listening, some people by observing, some people need to teach what they have learned to their compatriots, then they learn themselves. So we try to identify in which way, or we expose the learners to all the three ways, so that finally the adaptation takes place. And I am able to tell my boss that the deliverables have come. This gentleman A is going to detail Botropes for you. This gentleman is going to represent Cheyenne very successful to the doctors. And that confidence is what people are looking for. We also use various types of interactive things, like, for example, the Edward de Bono concept of teaching. So in this, we create a problem. Let us say a doctor is there, a general surgeon, who says that there is no bleeding in my surgeries. So in that context, how are you going to deal with that problem? So we literally keep these 6 hats in the table. We make round table learning session. Red hat means intuitive or hunches, feelings. White hat is fact-based thinking. Yellow hat is positive thinking. Black hat is negative thinking. Green hat is creative thinking. Blue hat is the organized thinking. So we ask one medical rep or one trainee to take the red hat, another white hat, another yellow hat. So this way, all are wearing different hats on the same problem. So the red hat person, the trainee will say, sir, I think that we'll have to appeal to the doctor by saying that Botropes will reduce the bleeding to such a level that the number of blood transfusions will be decreased. So this way we will get a better appeal. That is his emotional, intuitive and feeling-based thinking approach. The white hat person will say, we have to analyze how many tissue-using situations are there and how many bleeding situations are there. And we'll have to explore how to position the product. If there are more number of tissue-using situations, we'll position only for tissue-using. Yellow hat positive thinker will say, let us promote it as not only arresting the bleeding, but also enhancing the effect on arrest of tissue oozing. Black hat person, who is a negative thinker, devil's advocate, he will say, sir, tissue oozing will not be convincing. Are we having clear evidence to that? If we are having a clinical study to support our claim, then we will go. Otherwise, we will stick to the bleeding concept itself. The green hat fellow will say, sir, why not create a case study approach where we give free samples to the doctors and make them use the product in tissue oozing and collect that response. We create a book and then separate and then distribute it across all the target audience members, so that the doctors will get influenced by seeing the book that Botropes can be used in tissue oozing based on different case reports. So these are all the different types of thinkings, and these thinkings have created tremendous amount of knowledge among them. So we create such approaches, and these are all andragogic approaches. They are not pedagogic approaches. So ideally, you should have a cooperative learning environment. So we create mechanisms for mutual planning. We ensure that there are sequential activities for achieving the objectives. By the way, this andragogy is a well-established approach. Malcolm Knowles, he's the person who talked about creating adult learning concepts. And you can get a lot of information on the internet which reiterates that learning process can be done through the andragogic approach. I will take the questions at the last. I will wrap up shortly. Please permit me. So as I was saying, we are going to ensure that multimedia approach is used. So there will be interactive approach. there will be YouTube approach, there will be video approach. We'll ask the learners to create a video on a particular concept. One intelligent fellow came up with the idea that since amine fluoride has got very good dispersion quality on the enamel of the tooth, let us make a video that we can pour the amine fluoride on water which has got fine charcoal. So if we pour the amine fluoride, it will disperse and it will distribute the charcoal evenly. Whereas in a place where amine fluoride is not there, in a petri dish without the amine fluoride, the dispersion of the charcoal, fine charcoal, will not take place. So user created video which has created tremendous amount of learning ability. So in his life, that person will never forget that amine fluoride has got better dispersion in the enamel, and he's going to detail this quality. So basically, we are focusing on clear nuggets of knowledge, absolutely focused on certain skills and response behavior, that is the attitude and proficiency levels, which will create the learner oriented process. Now, we have understood what is andragogy and pedagogy. In short, I'm going to tell what are the other things that we do, such as gamification, modeling, pre-learning tests, providing learning materials in advance, lecture taking notes, etc. Very short dollops of knowledge on all that. So basically, andragogy is self-directed learning. You have to use these elements, so that will create a strong adult ego in that person. And with a strong adult ego, he will be able to improve his maturity level. If you keep treating your students as a child, he will keep behaving like a child. But if you treat him as a mature adult, you can at least expect some growth. So that is what is required today, a mix of pedagogy and andragogy that will create superior learning experiences. We use a lot of gamification. Let me titrate to the marketing example itself. So if a medical representative is waiting at a doctor's chamber and he has to represent the talking points, in between, he will start playing a small game. In that game, in between, questions will come. And if he answers those questions, he will get points. And those points can be either encashed for a gift, or it can be encashed for cash at the end of the month. What we are ensuring is that constant revision is happening. So this improves the employability, this improves the scalability, this improves the sales ability of that individual. Because finally, in the selling field, the talking point delivery is important, ability to take personal orders is important. In the quality control field, what do I want? I want that individual to know all the steps of how to use an equipment, and if a particular raw material, excipient, or a final formulation is given, he should know which are all the QA, QC procedures to be adopted, so that he will finally tell me whether this material can be used further or not. So that concept has to be dealt with, and it has to be reiterated. Gamification is a very interesting concept with excellent results, because mobile addiction, as you are aware, is now an important aspect of social living. We also do a lot of modeling. What is modeling? Modeling is basically you behave the way you want the student to behave. You can't keep pontificating and saying or preaching that every student should behave like this, every learner should behave like this, every medical rep. That doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that. In real life, people will be observing how you are behaving. If you are having the skill, he will get motivated to deliver that skill on the ground. So if, for example, let's go to the marketing situation, and I go to a doctor and I say, today I will do the doctor call, just observe me. Doctor, here is HepatoGuard liquid. As you are aware, today liver dysfunction is very common. Perhaps you will notice a lot of nausea, fatigue, vomiting, icterus, and different clinical manifestations of liver stress due to either pollutants, drug-induced liver dysfunctioning, or it could be alcohol or hepatitis B virus, which itself is causing the liver stress. So, doctor, we offer HepatoGuard liquid and HepatoGuard tablets. Doctor, HepatoGuard is a very unique formulation which contains standardized extracts and clinically proven extracts of Phyllanthus neuriae, Andrographis paniculata, Picrorhiza curova, Borrelia diffusa, Azadirachta, Indica trifala, Eclipta alba, Zinzibera officinalis, and Piper longum. All these are standardized, and there is a synergistic response not only to correct the hepatic dysfunctioning, but also create an environment to prevent damage to the liver due to the hepatotoxins. So, doctor, in your very case of acute uncomplicated viral hepatitis or non-hepatic viral hepatic dysfunctioning, please prescribe 2 tablets 3 times daily for 21 days, followed by 1 tablet 3 times daily, followed by 1 tablet as a tapering dose. Doctor, there is another clinical trial which says that at P less than 0.001. So if at all hepatoguard had to act by chance, it would have acted by chance only once if we had repeated the clinical trial 1,000 times. So good confidence limits are also there. Please recommend hepatoguard. If I am able to do this in the doctor's clinic, then I can expect my junior colleague to also do it. He will get inspired. Yes, it is doable. So that is called as modeling. So if the teacher can represent that he can learn a particular amount of knowledge and represent it very finely, that modeling is going to work. It is required for us not only to teach how to learn, but also how to think and how to memorize. For example, the technique of mnemonic. How do I remember which are all the different essential amino acids which are there in a particular protein supplement which I am marketing? Doctor, we are offering this Pro-B. Dr. Pro-B is an exclusive formulation which offers not only the phenylalanine, valine, threonine, tryptophan, isoleucine, methionine, histidine, arginine, lysine, and leucine, but also the non-essential amino acids which will help in the better improvement of the weight gain and also muscle gain. So if I am able to represent like this, that's because I can remember the different essential amino acids with the mnemonic PVT, TIM, HALL. So these are the ways in which the mnemonic clustering is done. Clustering means we group the different things that we want them to remember. Like for example, pre-bath products, during the bath products, and post-bath products. So this way we will cluster it and explain to the medical rep or to the person on how to remember. Association, he can associate various things and remember. So these are all the ways. Currently, there is a strong trending for delivering blended learning modes of education and learning. Today, we are using this YouTube, we are using the Zoom, we are using several technology platforms. We are giving various types of experiences sitting in Bangalore to the individual who is there in Agra, Kashmir, Delhi, and he is able to learn and absorb. Even in the educational field, this transformation is taking place. It's better to ensure that blended learning modules are also created, which includes not only the augmented reality and virtual reality. Like you can see here, one experiment is being visualized by using the virtual reality system by a child in this slide. So these sort of mode of teaching, distance learning, that's going to become the order of the day. And people are going to log into various types of courses for enhancing their own ability to perform in their job. Lecture taking notes. This is a very painstaking exercise which we do as trainers. What we do, whatever I want to train on a particular subject, let us say I want to train the individual on Omnident, I'm going to prepare in point form the different types of points which have to be delineated on Omnident. And these lecture taking notes will be provided in advance to the learners, but there will be fill in the blanks. So we will tell the learner, you try to fill all those points if you can. If you cannot, when I'm delivering the lecture, when I'm giving you the teaching session, you will start filling it. So what happens? Distraction of the learner will not take place. He will give his concentration to the learning. So whether it is delivering this same system to a medical representative or field personnel based at Qatar, which I'm currently going to do tomorrow, the lecture taking notes will be sent and they will be waiting with the lecture taking notes. We'll be delivering the training module, the learning module through the MS Teams platform, and interaction takes place for about 3 hours. And that deliverable, training deliverable, will create tremendous change in the behavior of the salesperson. So he can persuade the target audience to either prescribe more or adopt the product. We believe in frequent revisions, because if you keep recapitulating the same thing, obviously the knowledge will improve and you will be able to deliver a lot. Now, the road ahead for all academic institutions, because it is a symbiotic relationship, definitely you need to partner with various organizations. Like for example, Biocon has got a very popular program. So this is a Biocon Ramaya certificate program in QC analysis program. Many people pay money to join these courses. They take the learnings and either they get a job in Biocon itself or they get a job in some other bio company. So Biocon has itself created a Biocon Academy, which is a Center for Excellence for Advanced Learning in Applied Biosciences. So what has happened, they have got international education partners such as Keck Graduate Institute. So they are delivering industry-oriented training programs to biotech students. So the job skills development will lead to a promising career to that individual. So it is open for mainly engineering students. So, and also some amount of pharmacy students are also getting if they are able to satisfy the criteria. Take, for example, the Biocon KGI certificate program in biosciences. So that gap between the academic knowledge and application in the industry scenario is broken because of this joint program. So these are all things that you should impart to your own students, I feel, because the learners will be motivated to look at different types of certificate programs in the blended mode, or they would like to do this sort of a course after their B Farm, and they will get better employability. Finally, what matters to you? Employability of that person. It may be employability as an employee or employability as self-employment. So Biocon Academy provides the international course material and gives tremendous amount of exposure. Dr. Reddy Labs is also doing great job in this field. So they believe in leadership development and they provide a lot of opportunities and skills. They have got awesome training infrastructure. Particularly, they say that it is important to improve the leadership level of all the trainees as well as the employees so that the contribution will increase. So these sort of things have to be looked into. If you look at Lupin, the emphasis is on the learning and development interventions. So they have got a very clear talent management process. In that talent management process, they have got several types of ways in which they will be able to provide training, performance, compensation, good induction programs, and these are all learner centric. These are not pedagogic mechanisms, they are all andragogic mechanisms. So they have got a skill development module for frontline supervisory, manufacturing, research, sales functions. They have got leadership development for middle management people so that they can sustain to a higher level. And career management is also offered where they are basically encouraged to look into various courses and tap into it. It may be an online course, it may be. So the world is changing significantly because organizations have realized that human resource can make a difference to the growth of the organization. So higher education, Lupin has tied up with BITS Pilani, SPJMR, and Manipal. Manipal is doing a lot of these sort of, structural interventions with corporates to provide very interesting deliverables to them. In fact, recently the GMP Foundation GMP Center has been opened there. Dr. Girish Pai, you may be knowing, has opened it. Now they are getting students, that is the industry people, to come and do the certificate programs there. So a lot of technologies are being used. So it is anytime, anywhere learning. So this is learning emphasis, not teaching emphasis. This is what I'm trying to reiterate here. Learning on the go, one of the ways is the gamification. So that is also happening in Lupin, and they are understanding the importance of it. Trainers are highly accountable in all these systems. They have to ensure the minimum test score and the learner has to have the ability to answer the objections. And people will keep giving the on-job improvements feedbacks. I would like to also emphasize that it's important to practicalize your MPharm projects, like for example, Manipal Corps, JSSCP Mysuru, and I'm sure Modern College of Pharmacy will also be doing it. Virtually the different projects that are done are in the industry by all those students, particularly Manipal. Use the concept of AIDA. I'm coming to my close, don't worry. So use the concept of AIDA, attention, interest, desire, and action technique. We use this in marketing. Consider that your course material is a product that has to be internalized by the learner. So make it attention catching. Build some widgets, features, gadgets, whatever you want to improve the interest level of the learner in that learning module. And create a desire in him so that he absorbs that and just watch how he will adopt that learning. Correlated to the real life situation. Ensure that there is likability for all that is being taught. If the person starts disliking, then there will be learning aversion, which we should avoid. Prepare your learners not just for the exam and the viva voce performance. Let them take the learnings for real life situation and be learner focused. And ensure to make them lifelong learners, because what is required when they come to an organization is that they should start learning again and again. New concepts will keep coming. Who will do that learning? They have to learning. They have to do the learning. So increase the thirst for learning. This is a third story that I will give, the baby elephant syndrome. So when a baby elephant is taken by a mahout, what he does is he will first chain that elephant. Every time the chain is put on the leg of that baby elephant, it knows that it is tethered and cannot move. So what happens, even when it becomes an adult elephant, a rope may be tied, but that elephant will not move from its position. So there are certain beliefs, maybe a laziness, certain fears or other types of emotions which are holding the learners to their peg of inertia position. So as trainers, as teachers, or whatever role we are having, we should ensure they come out of this baby elephant syndrome. This is called as baby elephant syndrome. They are stuck into that. So if they come out of the baby elephant syndrome, they will be able to operate much better. So the take home message is very simple, that this is the era of multimedia learning concepts. Today, we cannot just stick to classroom education or campus life alone. There is learnings happening across spheres. Collaborative learning is important. Learning delivery by different types of trainers and educators may be invited. Industry professionals, or if you have an industry academia linkage, they should provide their inputs. So it's multimedia learning concepts today. Adoption of the learner-centric approach is important. It is not just about the teaching attitude. You may be a good teacher, but it may not create the learning. Market the learnings to the learners. Use the AIDA, that is attention, interest, desire, and action approach. So I have come to the fag end. I thank the organizers, Dr. Vittal Chopde Saab, who has been behind me for ensuring that I participate in this forum. And it's been a great joy for me to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. I thank Dr. Praveen Chaudhary Saab. I also thank Dr. Kakade ji. And finally, most important, I thank Dr. Salahuddin ji, with whom I enjoy a very good relationship, and he is always there for me. So thank you very much, and I stop the share here and I hand over the forum to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now the session is open for discussion. So if anyone has any query, they can post their query in the chat box.
Okay, I think somebody has asked, how does clustering method be used for learning? Okay, fine.
Sir, your voice is not audible.
Okay, I have unmuted myself. Okay, so it was muted by somebody else. Okay, please don't mute me. Someone keeps muting me. Please don't mute me. Yeah. Okay. So basically, in clustering method, we try to ensure that the individual groups the items which he has to remember and render it in a particular situation. For example, let us assume that he has to go to a doctor and he has to represent certain products which are to be used before the treatment for the infection. So he may not know that. So we group these products as before infection, during infection, and post-infection recovery. So when you group the products, this is called as clustering approach, and you teach it in that line, the medical rep or the promoter doesn't have to put too much of pressure on his brain. When he goes to the doctor, he immediately knows, first I have to detail the pre-infection products. Then I will do the post-infection products or during infection. Now, there is also a situation, the medical rep want to detail only the infection related and post-infection products. This way, the choice is made by the medical rep based on the clustering approach. So that is the concept of clustering. Any other questions? That is up to you, madam.
Yes, if anyone has any query. Okay, sir. So, thank you, sir, for explaining different theories related to teaching learning experience, including the bird eye view and icebreaker, and describing the role of teacher in a person's life. The concept of KSAP, which included knowledge, skills, attitude, and proficiency, needs to be transformed in target individual, which are students, was very well elaborated by the sir. Sir elucidated the significance of superior learning and its necessity through statistical reports. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time with us from your busy schedule. Kindly accept this virtual bouquet on behalf of convener Dr. P.D. Chaudhary, Principal, PS Modern College of Pharmacy, Nigdi, and Coordinator of STTP, Dr. V.V. Chopde, Associate Professor, PS Modern College of Pharmacy, Nigdi, as a token of appreciation and gratitude. Kindly accept the virtual certificate from PS Modern College of Pharmacy, Nigdi, Pune. Thank you so much, sir.